Auction time. This is the 8Q series auction. 8Q01. It's a corner tang made from Texas chert. Raw Texas chert. High grade stuff. And I might have started the biface on video, but I can't remember. But it was a pretty good size. I think I lost a 1/4 inch off of that, off the rear, but not off the front. Anyways, I'm not sure if I measured it before on video. 6 1/4 inches now by 1 5/8. It was a lot wider. I narrowed it down to match a corner tang I saw in the book. This is called a dog leg corner tang. Okay. It's a little bit different than the one in the book, but I think it's pretty close. Okay, so it's kind of thin, especially near the tip here. I didn't want to push the thinness too much. Because this is snap and half-ish type chert. It is high grade, and it wasn't too difficult to nap, although I can't get those long thinning flakes like some of these corner tangs have. I don't have a technique to do them all like this. If I get a long, narrow flake, what do they say, thin? A lot of these corner tangs were done with long, thin flakes. If I want to get a thin, no, I did it again. A lot of these corner tangs have long, narrow flakes. I can't get narrow flakes unless I'm lucky. Yeah. I can get a bunch of wide flakes, but the narrow ones, I don't know. I'm going to have to use some different tools or something. Anyway, yeah. I like making corner tangs. I just don't do many of them. It is translucent. All right, compared to a lighter. It's completely dark out right now, so I'm using indoor lighting, which is not as good as the natural lighting. Let's see how much it weighs. Can you see the display? No? Can't even see it like that. Anyway, 902 grains. 902. Yeah, we can't see the display at all. All right. $8Q02 is another corner tang. Same kind of stuff. It's from the same batch of chert. It's kind of high grade, as long as it doesn't have inclusions. This one started out as a regular triangular shape biface. I thinned it down a little bit more. When I push the thinning to the max, it does tend to get a little wonky because I've got to drive long flakes. So this one is considerably thinner than the other one. Or is it? I thought the smaller one was thinner, but they're about the same. I should measure the ratio. Anyway, they're both translucent shirts. Okay, it's gonna fail on me. Both of these corner tangs are sharp all the way around. I did not grind any of these edges. Now, the reason why I mention that is because sometimes they're ground around these notch areas. The real ones have ground edges inside the notching and around the corner. I believe some of them are ground down, but I did not grind these down at all. Okay, let's compare it to a lighter. What is the size of this one? 4 inches almost exactly by 2 inches almost exactly. Okay. And I showed the translucency already. And compared it to a lighter. It weighs 476 grains, not grams. Okay. 8Q03 Knife River Flint, raw. As thin as I could get it. This piece was actually nicely consistent and relatively easy to nap. Yeah. On the last auction, I did put some mineral oil in the notches on these Knife River Flint points, but on this time I did not. Now, what is this? This is kind of like an Elco style, but I don't know about the barbs. I just winged it with the barbs. It was a concave base triangular preform, and I just put some notches in it. So it kind of looks like an Elco. That's what I'm calling it for the auction purposes. For purposes of the auction. Okay, yeah. Let's see. Oh, that's just a little shy of 2 3/4. All right, 2 11/16 or something like that. And 1 3/8, a little bit over 1 3/8. Compared to a lighter. It is translucent, very translucent. It's not as translucent as that blonde Knife River, but it's close. Yeah. And I keep calling that, clear Knife River Flint. I've got some that's blonde. I heard Marty call it blonde Knife River. So, but that's not what this is. But I am going to start napping some of that blonde stuff. Okay. 142 grains. 142. Grains, not grams. 8Q04. I did this one completely on video. Yeah. And I even demonstrated, kind of demonstrated how it would look in the haft. I had a foreshaft that I used to gauge the width of this neck. I don't know what style this is. I'm just going to call it a corner notched point for the auction. Same kind of translucency. Comes from the same batch as the previous. These two are very similar in consistency. They might even be from the same nodule, just different parts of the same nodule. I can't remember. I don't know. No, I think this might have been a rock to point. Just individual by itself, but these two napped very similarly. Yeah. I guess this was a rock to point. I don't remember. Yeah. Okay. Compared to a lighter. I did show the translucency. Yeah. It's very translucent. I gotta measure it too. 176 grains. 2 5/8 by 1 3/16. $8Q05. This is a PIDS style point with serrations. It's made from Texas chert. Tough Texas chert. Still has a little bit of cortex right there. And it is translucent. It looks similar to Knife River Flint, but it's not. It's Texas chert. See, it does look similar, but the Knife River is a little bit deeper color. Okay. It was made on a flake. Okay, so it's got part of the original flake scar on this side. The other side's fully napped. This was not easy stuff to nap. It's very tough shirt. I tried to get those notches as deep as I could and without crushing. And that's the best I could do. Yeah. Until I come up with some new tools. Yeah, I am working on another notching tool. Or maybe I should just make a bunch of new notching tools. I need to make some expanding notches in the future. Anyway, let's see. Compared to a lighter, did I measure it? No. 2 1/4 by 1/1/16. So you could hunt with it, I suppose. What were they used for in the past, these things? Anything with long barbs and serrations, to me, it looks like it's a war point. Because it looks like it's designed to cause maximum discomfort, let's say. Yeah, if you get hit with one of these, you don't want to mess with it. It's hard to remove. If it's, you lose either way. Removing it is going to be damaging, and leaving it in the wound is going to be damaging. So either way, you're messed up if you get hit with one of these. So that's why I think these are war points, the ones with long barbs and serrations. Okay. There are some like this in the archaeological record. All right. Let's see. Did I weigh it? I don't know if I even did the translucency. It is translucent except for that spot where it's got cortex. Let's get the lighter out just in case. Yeah, I'm tired today. I woke up super early and didn't go back to sleep. I didn't get my full night's sleep. Anyway, 50 grains exactly. 50. All right. 8Q06. This is Georgetown flint of a lighter color variety. It is still high grade, but it's a little bit crunchy. This lighter color stuff is kind of crunchy. Yeah. But I've been working with crunchy material all week, so it wasn't too bad. I was able to get it thinned down and notched. It's okay as far as thinness goes. It's about average. I don't know what this is. I'm going to call it a corner notched point, art point. It's got a series of notches. I didn't want to do too many of those notches or serrations in this blade. I could have made something called an anaqua point out of this, but I was running short on time, so I just did a kind of serrated edge. Partially serrated, yeah. I do like the way this turned out. Yeah, even though it is kind of crunchy. Let's see. 2 7/8 by 1 1/8 compared to a lighter. Not translucent. It's Georgetown. It's got maybe some translucency around the edges, but that's it. $94 grains. 94. 8Q07. This one is on video. Yeah. The whole thing. I did the notching on video too. The bifacing from the spall. I even got the removal of the spall on video. So the whole process of this one is on video. I didn't do anything to it off camera. So it's all on camera. Okay? So I'm calling this a video point. This is made from Mookaite from Australia. It's a jasper. And it's raw. It's not heat treated, although you can heat treat this stuff, and it makes it more glossy. and easier to nap. Yeah, this is kind of crackly. It has the same properties as this Georgetown. These two materials nap very much alike. Okay? They are a little bit unpredictable as far as the flakes, the terminations. The flake terminations are a little bit unpredictable, so you get these steps and crunchy spots on both the Georgetown and this stuff. But some people really like that consistency. The looks are deceiving. Some people think it looks all buttery, but when you get it, you'll see it's not. Okay. 2 15/16 by 1 3/8 compared to a lighter. It's not translucent. I keep putting new batteries in here, but it's not doing any good in the flashlight. I got to get myself a better light. 196 grains. 196 grains, not grams. Did we get a closer look at it? Oh, it's all on video. Yeah, okay. 8Q08, another Mookaite point. Same nodule. I mean, same boulder, or whatever you want to call it. I can't remember if I did the biface on video, but I refined it yesterday. I thinned it down a lot, and it got a lot smaller, a lot more crackly. And I was just practicing my expanding notching. But yeah, I'm planning on doing a lot more advanced expanding notching in the future. This is just pretty simple stuff. They're not that small. All right, so how long is this? 3 7/8 by 1 1/4. And I try to get these as thin as possible for this auction. This auction I tried to get them all as thin as I could with the material that I'm working with. I didn't want to push it though. Okay. Compared to a lighter. 248 grains. 248. $8Q09. This one I did make it on video, I believe. It's just a hand axe made of Texas chert, raw Texas chert. Mid-grade, although I did not have difficulty napping this. It is still a mid-grade chert because it's not slick. The color's not that great. It does get a little bit crunchy when you start trying to get it thinner. So I'd call it a mid-grade chert. And I like to make these little hand axes whenever I have a nodule with a nice, relatively thin but rounded end of cortex. So that when you're using it for whatever, it's easy to hold and doesn't cut you. It cuts only from this end. And a lot of these are rounded off because I imagine it makes it more difficult to chip the tip if it's rounded, if you're doing butchering. Okay. This is 3 3/4 inches long by 3 inches wide. So yeah, compared to a lighter. I'm offering this by itself because some people like these. I could include this in the box of Brooks and bifaces, but nah. 2,444 grains, not grams. Almost 2,500 grains. That's a lot. $8Q10. It's a box of Brooks and bifaces. Not that many this week, luckily. except for the guys that like these boxes of broken bifaces. There's not that many this week. Mostly Knife River Flint, and then one Texas chert. Yeah. Okay, the Texas chert. I was going to make a small bell point or an andice, whatever, but yeah, as luck would have it, I just used too much force and broke off an ear. Yeah. Yeah, I was using the Nachomatic actually. And if you don't know what a Nachomatic is, it's a tool made by or invented by Ted Snyder. Okay, so I punched it a little too hard and it cracked it. But that doesn't mean that the Nachomatic doesn't work. It's just very powerful. Okay. So we have that, but everything else is Knife River Flint. Raw Knife River Flint. Okay, so let's measure these. 2 5/8. Yeah. 2 5/8. Almost 2 7/8. A little over 4 inches. A little over 2.5. 2 5/8. And this one would have been 2 3/4, a little bit more. Okay, so compared to a lighter, okay, so what these are various pieces of Knife River Flint, various grades. Some are more translucent than others. They vary in color somewhat. Okay. And consistency. Some of these are difficult to nap, and I'll tell you what they are in a minute. Some of them include lots of fossils. Like these two are full of fossils, I believe. Okay, and these are difficult. These were difficult for me to nap, so I didn't want to mess with them any further. Yeah, I didn't want to get them any thinner or work with them because they're very difficult to thin down, and I was hitting them way too hard for my taste to get them this thin. But they're still workable. The only one that's broken actually from the Knife River is this one here. Okay. Now this one is just a plain triangle. I call these hunting triangles. If I'm going to go hunting with these, I just make a set without notches. And I cheat. I use epoxy to attach these. But if you want, you can notch it. This one here, I blew out the side right there. It's not a major blowout, but I said, nah. I got disappointed that I was not able to notch it without mistakes. I got these two done, and then I said, nah, it's not going to be too difficult to nap. And guess what? It blew out part of that ear, or the lower part of the notch. So now you can use it for something. Did I measure the width on this one? This one is almost 7/8. It's just below what used to be the legal width. I think some states still had the 7/8 inch requirement. It's just under that. This one definitely qualifies as a hunting point. 2 5/8 by 1.5 inches. All right, let's weigh these. We won't weigh the broken ones. 338 grains, 482 grains, 168 grains, 92 grains. Grains, not grams. Okay. And last but not least, 8Q11 is a box of raw Texas chert and flint flakes. Okay, I'm just going to have a lighter to compare these two. I'm not going to measure each one. There's too many to mess with. These are all different kinds of cherts. Not all. Let's see. There are groups of them. There's like 4 different batches. These are flakes from 4 different batches, I would say. Yeah. Okay. Some of these are higher grade than others. You can tell by the glossiness. And the darker ones are usually higher grade than the lighter ones. But some of these higher grade cherts will curve a lot like this. So I got to be careful with this one. Even though it's high grade, it will start diving on you. But this one seems to generate flatter flakes. Yeah. But it's all raw Texas cherts. This one's a tough chert. This is the same batch as this. Okay. As this PIDS point. Very tough chert. But it works. It can be heat treated. All this stuff can be heat treated. So there's that. Some of this stuff is translucent. I should show that. Okay, that one. I've already taken it out of the box. Me and electronics. I don't know what it is. There's different shades. None of this stuff qualifies as root beer, I don't think. Although this is close. This stuff is close to being a root beerish type. That flake is close to being root beerish. Same with this one. This is a tough chert. These two are high grade pieces. This is tough. So yeah, these 3 come from the same batch, as you can probably tell. Okay, high grade stuff. This is a high grade. All right, let me continue here. This is a high grade, same as this. These 2 are the same. Okay, I think this is the same also as these 2. Yes, or maybe. Yep. Okay, so I'll just stop trying to explain too much. Okay. I've got some Georgetown in here too. It's not just Edwards Plateau or Pedernales chert. These can be called Edwards Plateau or Pedernales. All this stuff here. All this stuff can be called Edwards Plateau or Pedernales chert. There's no amoeba chert in this. They're all like from tabular pieces. Okay, this is tabular Edwards Plateau cherts. Okay. Yeah, none of these are amoeba cherts as far as I know. This one, I can't tell it right off. This one is from an entirely different batch, I think. Yeah. I thought it was from this batch, but no. So this is an entirely different batch. This one might be amoeba chert. Let me just, it looks similar to amoeba chert. This one here, that's the only one. Okay. All right, so then we have Georgetown flakes. And Georgetown is translucent around the edges. Okay, so we got that one. This flake. Very large flake. I'll show them again in a minute. Before, as I put them in the box, I'll show you the side views so you can see if they're curved or straight. This one is actually a couple of brokes. This one actually has a couple of brokes in it. Okay, but these are Georgetown pieces. I didn't realize I stuck them in here. Okay, so this is Georgetown raw. Raw Georgetown. Raw Georgetown. This is raw Georgetown too. The consistencies, I don't know. I'm giving these away because I don't like napping Georgetown anymore. Yeah. Now this stuff here I do like napping, but some people don't know about Texas shirts. So now's your chance. Texas high grade. This is all of this stuff is at least upper mid grade shirts, even though some of them might be tough. Okay. And most of this stuff is high grade, but the tougher ones are mid grade, I'd say. Upper mid grade because they are consistent. They're just kind of tough to nap. These other ones are high grade. So these are the only pieces in here that are going to be tough to nap. All the other stuff is fairly easy. Now for beginners, I don't know. I think beginners would like this stuff. Yeah, but it's best to practice on something a little bit less quality if you're brand new. Now, if you're fairly new, then I recommend napping this kind of stuff because you want to know if it's you and not the stone. These are all very consistent pieces. I didn't see any major cracks or inconsistencies. So these are consistent quality and mid to very high grade. Okay. All raw though. All right, that's it. The description or the rules of the auction are in the description box. That's it for this week's items, and good luck.